CBS 47 and Fox 30. It's time for This Week in the 904.
Welcome to this week's edition of This Week in the 904. I'm Emily Turner, and joining us today is the president of Jacksonville University, Tim Cost. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and you are not a new face at JU. You've been around for a while, not just this stint, but before. What's your background there?
Right, sure. I came down to Jacksonville University first in 1977 as a student athlete, grew up in upstate New York. Came here, got a great education for 4 years, completely changed my life, my view of the world. Had 32 years in business and got invited to come back to my own alma mater, my undergraduate alma mater, to serve as president 12 years ago. So here I am. It's been a great ride.
It's quite the pivot, though. So you spent years in corporate America in big, high-ranking jobs. What was the pivot to higher education?
Yeah, the idea of watching my own two children, one go to a great regional university, Wake Forest, and get a great education, be a Division I athlete, and one go on to Penn State, a great big superpower, and went on to be a pro athlete. I watched the way they were recruited, the way these universities were run, and then I ended up in my corporate career at a company called Aramark right before I went to PepsiCo, and Aramark runs lots of college campuses, so you got to know a lot of college presidents. And when I was asked to come back and serve at my own alma mater on the board, that gave me more insight. I tried to help them with a strategic plan, some fundraising, and it went from there. It was a progression.
So you started, well, small, I guess, as a student technically, and now you're running the show. How has JU changed just in your personal experience from your days as a student to what JU and how JU operates now? Sure.
But back in the day, if you go back into the 70s when we were coming off the great era of Artis Gilmore, the most famous student who ever went there, put us on the map, it was a very small school. It was 1,500 students. Today it's 4,200 students. It was also primarily what the world would call a liberal arts university, sort of the social sciences and humanities. And today, while we still have that, we now have 5 colleges, we have 11 schools, we have 4 institutes, and the big things we do, the things we're probably best known for these days, are healthcare, business, and technology. We're great in the fine arts, we're great in the arts and sciences, but you try to reposition the university, we try to kind of bend it around the corner strategically so that it would be there when this economy arrived. So we thought there would be a big play in healthcare way back in 2012 when I took the job, so we started to offer things, and that's what we reflect today.
And so it's more liberal, or was more liberal arts. Now you guys are really focusing on some of these up-and-coming industries. You said, 5 schools, and walk us through that, because I think many people don't know what all JU actually offers as far as, I know there's a law school now, and what else?
Yeah, sure. So if a university like ours, which is called comprehensive, that means it gives a whole range of degrees, all the way from 4-year degrees, we don't do 2-year degrees, 4-year degrees, through master's degrees, through doctoral degrees. So if you think about it, the colleges are the Davis College of Business and Technology, we can talk about that, the Stein College, Linda Berry Stein College of Fine Arts and Humanities, then you've got the College of Arts and Sciences, and then you've got the Brooks College, Brooks Rehabilitation College of Healthcare Sciences, where huge things like nursing are in there. And then you've got the law school. And starting next year, we're going to have an honors college, so you'll have 6. So a university has 6 colleges, then it has 11 schools, a school of nursing, a school of education. Then it has institutes, things like the Marine Science Institute with Quint White and Brian Franks, or Public Policy Institute with Rick Mullaney. Those things roll up into the comprehensive university. Where
does most of the student population fall?
Most of the student population falls in the world of undergraduates, so think 18 to 23. So the school has 3,000 students that come from all around the world. 48 states and 35 foreign countries are the undergrads, that's 3,000. Then you have another nearly 1,300 graduate students that are equally divided among a number of the schools. But the largest college inside the university is related to healthcare.
Which would be the one that started sooner or more recently?
The ones that started most recent, right, so if you go back to the beginning, to 1934, we just turned 90 years old.
Happy
which was
birthday.
A great, thank you. It was a great celebration for all of us, yeah. So where it started was kind of the classic. If you think of 1934, you're right in the teeth of the Depression. So these folks were teaching just a couple of things, and that the college kind of got built up around what was known as arts and sciences, like many people do. And then in the more recent years, we've bolstered up what's going on in the Davis College of Business and Technology and the Brooks Rehab College of Healthcare Sciences. Those have been the ones you look for what's close to market. If you look at what you're covering every week, where are things? Are they mostly people that are taking history and English sometimes, if they're in the arts or philosophy or psychology? But a lot of times you're talking to business people who have law degrees or they have finance backgrounds, and that's what the general Northeast Florida region needs, so that's what we produce.
Is it predominantly Jacksonville, Northeast Florida folks who are attending that, like, they're, oh, I graduated from local high school X in Jacksonville and now I'm going to JU, or are you mostly getting people from out of the area that are coming here?
Yeah, it's this year it's almost exactly 50-50. So our charter, the way we're running ourselves, our protocols are different. If you think of the ecosystem of higher ed that's in the area, you've got very good public university, UNF, who should draw most of their students from Florida, okay? You've got a very good HBCU, okay, Edward Waters. Then you've got FSCJ, the state college, that draws, it may trend a little bit older in it. We are the kind of class, we're like a Wake Forest or an Elon, something like that. Davidson, a small to medium size, 4,000 plus. And we draw, the largest state we draw from is Florida. After that, it's New York, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Virginia, Texas. You keep on going, you'll get to Georgia. And it's about 50% from the state of Florida, and it's about 50% from around the whole world. So that's the role we should play. Our goal is to kind of privatize the risk for the whole region. We'll go out and recruit. We're all over the world explaining to people what is Jacksonville, Florida. Then we'll explain to them what is Jacksonville University. So I always say anything good that happens in Jacksonville is excellent for our university. If it's at another university, if it's at a corporation, if it's a not-for-profit, it's with the mayor's office, we're able to take those things and we market those things. We have people in enrollment and admissions out around the world, and once we get them onto our campus, we have an unusually high batting average. If people come visit our campus, they tend to go to school there. It's a beautiful piece of land we inherited. We know the weather's great. It's right on the water. And we've invested a lot in it. It's safe, it's well manicured, and people have a good experience.
It's interesting because having grown up here, JU is very different now than it was. I feel like, anyway, it felt more like a local school, and it was. But now, are we really competing at that level against the Davidsons and against Furman and that kind of thing? Are those? We're at that level.
Yeah, so there's about, anybody could look this up on any of their favorite AI tools. There's about 4,000 institutions that grant degrees in this country. That's not just, we're Division I, we play Division I sports. But if you look at all of them, 4,000, the Wall Street Journal creates a thing called the Top 500. And we are number 352 out of the 500, out of the 4,000. So there were only 4 private universities from the state of Florida in there this year out of the 30 private. So this idea of, little JU, it's been around forever. I think it's kind of a commuter school. It's from these northern kids who play sports. I probably resemble that remark from back in the day. We came down here, athletes would come down here, primarily in those days, to play basketball and baseball. And now it's everything from lacrosse to women's golf to volleyball. I mean, you name it. You play 17 D1 sports. But it's not the commuter school some might have thought about it back in the 60s and 70s.
You talk a lot about what is positive for Jacksonville is positive for Jacksonville University. And it's pretty clear through your track record so far that you guys have been a good partner with the community. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things you're doing? Let's just start at home in Arlington, where the campus is.
Yeah. Well, the goal there was, I'd left, I graduated in 81, I came back as the president in 2012, and obviously Arlington had changed a lot. Lots of cities like Arlington, where I had lived all around the world, had changed a lot. So we launched this concept back then with Mayor Brown, then through Mayor Curry, now with Mayor Deegan, of what's called Renew Arlington. So we're the largest employer in all of Arlington. We've been there the longest. I mean, we can be a bellwether. Most people don't think of a university as a bellwether business or an economic driver, but we have hundreds and hundreds of employees. We have thousands of young people and their families. We have an awful lot of visitors. And it was, what role could we play rather than create a pulled back ivory tower strategy and let's close the gates? What if we open the whole thing up? What if we turn this inside out and welcome in Arlington? And I don't consider us in Arlington, I consider us of Arlington. We've been there for a very long time. And the goal then became, all right, can we catalyze investment? So perhaps we could invite, and it happened, people to build housing nearby. That they did. It turned out to be beautiful, what's called Jackson Commons. Could we invite Wawa to come in nearby? And they did, right up the road. Could we invite a terrific young developer, Alex Safakis, took over down the road and renamed it College Park, because there's a college nearby. We invited in idea schools, a public charter school, which came right onto our grounds. We built out the whole north side into what's called a medical mall, and our partners there include everybody from Baptist and all of the major players. So this idea of the university being a positive catalyst for economic activity, which could mean also partnerships with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. We've had an excellent relationship all the way back to Sheriff Rutherford through Sheriff Williams, now with Sheriff Waters. I think people on our campus feel good. They come from around the world. They bring their cars. They bring their families onto campus. And I want them to feel that culture. It has to feel like a family. They've got to not just feel connected to the university. They've got to feel like they belong. And if you're a very, very large university, and there's a lot of them in Florida that are 40 to 50 to up to 70,000, we're 4,200. You got to feel like this is the place for you. When it's like when you walk into a house and you say, yeah, this is the place. You walk onto our campus, many students say, I knew when I walked on campus, this is where I wanted to go. And we try to foster that. And
it's beyond just Arlington, too, because you guys are expanding now in a huge move downtown.
Yeah. The thought there was, and you're right, the thought there was, is there anything we could do? Because myself and a whole bunch of our senior executives on our cabinet, we sit on lots of boards, CEOs sit on our boards. You can get the velocity sped up between a good university and the local business community, but is there more we could do? Rather than clap from the grandstands that we hope things go well downtown, good luck all you guys, how about if we get involved here? So we laid down an early chip in the kind of chess match that I thought we could play in, which was to go into the ViStar Tower and put some graduate classes there. Did we need to be in the ViStar Tower? No, they were great landlords. We loved Brian Wolfberg, but we knew we were going to outgrow it. So we stayed there until we had gotten ourselves put in a position where we could pursue a law school, which was just a couple of years ago. And that was the moment we started looking around. We used Christian Harden and the guys at NAI Hallmark, and we looked all around for a place you could put a law school forever in downtown Jacksonville. How can you be near courthouses? How can you be near law firms? How can you be near corporations? And downtown Jacksonville was just a fantastic place to choose from. We found this great spot, 121 Atlantic, which is on West Forsyth, and we've just finished it with great help from the city. The city put in $6.5 million. We put in $6.5 million, and we renovated this building. And I would invite you. It is exciting now to see what's happening because now people see the Jacksonville University logo downtown in a big way, and hundreds of students are moving around down there, and they're looking for places to eat and things to do and places to live. That's how you do, I think, true kind of grassroots economic vitality.
When will classes start happening in that building?
We're in our third year.
But I'm saying in the new one.
Yeah, we're in it. We're already in it. I'm sorry, we're already in it. We began there August 19th. So you have your first year, L1, that was in the ViStar Tower. Your second year students, L2, that was in the ViStar Tower. This year, the L3 classes, everybody's for the first time in the new building. It's 55,000 square feet. We have an option on a floor above us. It's exciting to be down there because there's an energy about being downtown, and we have a lot of people come down there. There's people who invest in what we do, who want to see the new facility, and we looked long and hard at whether or not the world needed another law school. And we were the first new law school in the country in 14 years, and we were the first new law school in the state of Florida in 22 years.
Wow.
And we looked at it almost since the day I got there. So we looked hard at it. I mean, analysis, talking to people, talking to the bench, the bar, the general counsel around here. We talked to people about it for a better part of 7 years before we found the curriculum we wanted, an incredible dean, Princeton undergrad, Rhodes Scholar at Oxford, Yale Law, went on to be the president of Brooklyn Law School, which is 1,500 students. Ours is not going to be that way. Our law school is likely going to be between 450 and 500 students. It's exciting, and it resonates with people, law school and the medical school. We're about to open, we're about to break ground with our partners, LECOM, and open the first ever 4-year medical school in that 200-year history of Jacksonville. So there's things. Jacksonville is a great city, fast-growing city, good region, good weather. It doesn't have tourism and hospitality. It doesn't have a veterinary school. It doesn't have a dental school. It doesn't have a medical school. And we get to look at this, and we try to, we bounce ideas around with UNF and FSCJ and Edward Waters. If they're going to go into pockets, that doesn't mean we need to double down on it. If they're going to go into transportation and logistics, we can go over here in terms of medicine and law. It's a good time to innovate in the field of higher ed. I know people think it's not, but it is.
So do you have these high-level strategy conversations with EWU and UNF and say, okay, well, you're opening a law school, so I'm not going to open a law school? Are those conversations happening so that, like you said, you don't double up?
Sure. I mean, the presidents of the universities in this city meet every month. We're friends. We meet at the same place for breakfast. People look at it. I mean, I think they're surprised we're out in the wilds together. And I mean it. The sorts of things that are going on at those schools, we keep track of what they're doing, they keep track of what we're doing. We get together on things when there's difficult matters going on college campuses somewhere, whether it has to do with a protest or a shooting or an encampment. We talk to each other. When there's a hurricane coming, we talk to each other. I mean, these are regular conversations. They don't owe me their innermost secrets with their plans with the board, but it's not difficult, especially if you're a state institution like FSCG and UNF, both great schools, really good presidents. They can't kind of freelance and go into what they want. They've got to coordinate with others, especially back to Tallahassee. We as a private university, and we and Edward Waters sort of sticks to what they do, we keep looking at what's very close to the market. We call these signature programs, but we mean things that are right in the market where we know students want to come and take it at a reasonable price and they can get a job.
Well, one of them you were talking about is tech. Mm-hmm. Which I think is a buzzword, but we've got fintech, we've got health tech, we've got multiple different industries that come to Jacksonville. Sure. We've kind of become a hub in that way. When it comes to innovation, where do you see JU playing a role in providing the workforce for them?
Yeah, we got to pick our spots. I mean, there's, if you look at, for instance, the University of Florida, the resources they can bring to bear for their interpretation of what's called Hypergate, or a supercomputer, is beyond what a school like ours would do. It would dwarf our entire endowment of our university. So you have choices, just like you do in business. There's an industry called higher ed. I get to go first on things if I think I've got a lead. I can be a fast follower. You go first at USF, and I'll track in behind you. Or I can ride alongside you and partner with you. So there's and sometimes we can look at things and say, we're not going to do this at all. And we do that too. For us, in the world of tech that you're mentioning, we looked hard at things like cyber. We opened the first cybersecurity range in the state of Florida, which is a place in partnership with Florida Blue, where you can go and you can try to hack, essentially, your own company. In other words, you can troubleshoot, you can wear the black hat. And so that's on our campus. We opened up the first FinTech program in the whole city of Jacksonville a couple of years ago, very well subscribed. So you look at each one of these things, and now when you go past 3D manufacturing, which we do, drones, we have students making drones on our campus, you do cyber, you keep going. Now you come to AI, and you start to say, okay, since November 30th of 2022, when OpenAI showed the first version of ChatGPT, we've been all over that in our way. First, you got to find out, quote, are students going to use it to cheat? Second, can faculty use it to teach? Third, can you use it to run your university like you would run this network? Would you use it? Do I need as many people in routinized work, accounts payable, back office? And it's a fascinating thing, and you can see higher ed sort of interpreting artificial intelligence in different ways. But we're pleased to have been recognized by the American Association of Colleges and Universities as one of 5 schools in Florida to be invited into where they're going, the next generation of AI players. So it's a big priority for us. It's difficult and it's expensive.
I could see that. It's also, because it's so new, like, where do you even go with AI? I mean, we don't know, with elections, with careers, all of that stuff. That's something that you guys are going to be on the forefront of.
We are, exactly. And you would do what we're doing. So in our case, rather than have it be a top-down, the president and the CFO and the provost are going to tell everybody what's going to happen, we immediately, I mean, within a week of OpenAI showing ChatGPT, and now there's many, many sisters and brothers to that product, we brought our faculty together and we said we want to create a series of faculty conversations, which became faculty committees, which then takes us to now let's go outside and start to pull in outsiders to help us. And the minute that new students come on, we used to call them freshmen, now they're called first year, the minute they come on campus, we're trying to show them Riverside, Springfield, Brooklyn, and downtown, a Jags game, Jumbo Shrimp game. We want them to stay in town.
Well, I appreciate you sticking around for this. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you joining us this week on the 904, again with Tim Koss, president of Jacksonville University. We will have much more later on.
Thanks for watching This Week in the 904.